Transformers are among the most critical and valuable assets in an electrical power system. They connect voltage levels, transfer enormous amounts of energy, and support the reliable operation of the entire grid. But protecting a transformer is much more than installing a protective relay. A complete transformer protection system is an engineered chain that begins with accurate measurements, continues through intelligent protection algorithms, and ultimately ends with a reliable trip circuit capable of physically isolating the fault. In this presentation, we'll look at the anatomy of that protection system, from the sensors and protection elements to the trip circuit, commissioning process, compliance requirements, and real-world engineering challenges. The objective is simple: detect genuine internal faults quickly, avoid unnecessary trips, and ensure that when a trip command is issued, the transformer is actually disconnected from the electrical system.
A protection system is a continuously acting, custom-designed safeguard for one of the most critical assets in the power system. Consider the transformer itself. Replacing a major transformer can involve a lead time of more than 1 year. During that period, the impact can extend far beyond the transformer itself, creating stranded load pockets, offline generation ties, operational restrictions, and significant lost revenue. At the same time, the protection system must deal with several very different threats. The first is an internal winding fault. This is a genuine electrical fault inside the transformer and requires extremely fast detection and isolation. The second is magnetizing inrush. Inrush occurs during transformer energization and can produce very large currents that may resemble an internal fault to a simple differential protection scheme. And the third threat is false tripping. An unnecessarily tripped transformer can reduce system availability even though no damaging fault exists. This creates the fundamental challenge of transformer protection. The system must be extremely sensitive to real faults, but highly secure against conditions that only look like faults. A healthy relay may appear to do nothing for years, but its real value is measured in the microseconds when it acts correctly, and equally importantly, in the situations when it correctly decides not to act.
Transformer protection doesn't exist in isolation. Especially for generation and transmission projects, protection engineering operates within a larger interconnection ecosystem. At the center of this ecosystem is the system operator. In this example, ERCOT acts as the system operator, effectively serving as the grid's air traffic controller and evaluating interconnection based on technical impact. The transmission service provider, or TSP, owns and operates the transmission infrastructure. The TSP is responsible for running detailed studies and building the facilities required to connect the project. The interconnecting entity, or IE, is the developer or project owner that files the application and drives the interconnection process. The resource entity, or RE, represents the registered operator of the generator. And the qualified scheduling entity, or QSE, provides the plant's operational voice to the system, including telemetry, scheduling, and dispatch responsibilities. Supporting this ecosystem is RIO-IS, the ERCOT online data portal. The important point is that protection engineering must satisfy not only the physical requirements of the transformer, but also the technical, documentation, modeling, and compliance expectations of the wider interconnection process. In modern grid interconnection, your electrical model is effectively part of your compliance case. The first requirement is whole facility scope. Models must represent the actual facility, not just the generator. That means accounting for elements such as IT load, power conversion, cooling, protection, and other relevant electrical equipment. The presentation specifically identifies modeling platforms such as PSSE, PSCAD, and TSAT. The second checkpoint is hardware-validated models. For PSCAD models, the model should be benchmarked against actual hardware testing. Generic textbook approximations are not sufficient when the objective is to demonstrate how the real equipment will behave. The third checkpoint is format migration. Facilities may need to transition from older CMLD formats to EPRI's PERC-1 format, which means the model migration itself becomes an important engineering task. And finally, there are formal review checkpoints before stability studies and before quarterly submissions. The slide highlights that ERCOT review can take approximately 10 to 30 business days. The key lesson is straightforward. The model is not just a simulation file. It becomes part of the technical evidence supporting compliance.
Let's now look at the three fundamental layers of a complete transformer protection architecture. The first layer is the sensors. Current transformers, or CTs, voltage transformers, or VTs, and transformer condition sensors provide the raw information required by the protection system. The second layer is the relay. The numerical relay receives those measurements and performs real-time algorithmic processing. It determines whether the electrical conditions represent a fault, an abnormal operating condition, or a normal transient. The third layer is the trip circuit. Once the relay determines that a genuine fault exists, the trip command must travel through the control system and operate the appropriate mechanical isolation devices. This includes lockout relays, commonly designated as 86 relays, and the high voltage or medium voltage breakers. So the complete protection chain is measure, analyze, isolate. A failure anywhere in that chain can compromise the entire protection scheme. Every protection decision is only as good as the measurements behind it. Let's start with the current transformer, or CT. The CT steps the primary current down to a standardized secondary value, typically 1 ampere or 5 amperes. This provides the relay with a galvanically isolated representation of the high current primary system. The voltage transformer, or VT, provides an isolated low-voltage representation of the phase-to-ground voltage. But these devices cannot simply be selected based on their nominal ratio. Several parameters must be calculated and verified. These include the CT ratio, accuracy class, knee point voltage, burden, and the saturation characteristics of the CTs. This is especially important for transformer differential protection. If CTs saturate differently during a fault, the relay can see an artificial differential current. That can create either a security problem, where the relay trips unnecessarily, or a dependability problem, where the relay fails to respond correctly. Therefore, measurement engineering is not a supporting detail. It is the foundation on which the entire protection decision is built. One of the classic challenges in transformer differential protection is distinguishing magnetizing inrush from a genuine internal winding fault. During transformer energization, magnetizing inrush can produce a very large current. The important characteristic is that inrush contains significant second harmonic content. A numerical relay can analyze the waveform and apply a second harmonic restraint or blocking function. When the relay identifies the characteristic harmonic content associated with magnetizing inrush, the differential trip is blocked. This prevents the transformer from unnecessarily tripping during normal energization. Now, compare that with an internal winding fault. A genuine internal fault produces a different current signature. The relay's filtering logic recognizes that the signal does not match the expected inrush characteristics. The restraint is therefore not applied in the same way, allowing the relay to issue an instantaneous trip command. The engineering objective is to achieve both security and speed. We want the relay to remain restrained when the transformer is being energized, while still responding extremely quickly when an actual internal fault occurs. A reliable transformer protection system uses layered defense mechanisms. The primary protection is typically transformer differential protection, commonly identified as the 87T element. The 87T function compares the current entering and leaving the transformer protection zone. Under normal operating conditions, these currents should balance after accounting for the transformer ratio and phase relationships. An internal transformer fault disrupts that balance, producing differential current and allowing the relay to trip rapidly. The next layer is restricted earth fault, or REF, represented here by the 64 or REF function. REF provides highly sensitive ground fault detection, particularly for faults near the transformer neutral.
Then we have 50 and 51 overcurrent protection. These functions provide magnitude-based short circuit and overload protection and can serve as time-graded backup. The transformer also has important mechanical and condition-based protections. The Buchholz relay can detect gas accumulation associated with developing internal problems and can also respond to sudden oil movement associated with more severe faults. Temperature monitoring provides protection against excessive winding and top oil temperatures, and oil level monitoring can provide an early warning before insulation performance is compromised. The important concept is redundancy. No single protection element should be expected to handle every possible failure mode.
Protection zones are fundamental to understanding how transformer protection works. The first zone shown here is restricted earth fault, or REF. REF provides highly localized protection, particularly around the transformer star point and neutral. Its strength is sensitivity. It can detect certain earth faults that may be difficult for broader protection functions to identify. The second major zone is transformer differential protection, or 87T. The differential zone is defined by the CT locations. Current entering and leaving the protected zone is compared, and a significant mismatch indicates an internal fault. Because this is the primary protection zone, the objective is generally zero time, or instantaneous fault isolation, rather than waiting for downstream protection to operate. Finally, we have overcurrent protection. The 50-51 functions provide a much broader protection envelope. They respond primarily to current magnitude and can provide backup protection for the transformer and downstream equipment. Think of these protection zones as overlapping layers. The closer a protection function is to the fault, the faster and more specifically it can respond. Broader protection functions then provide the necessary backup if primary protection fails.
Here is one of the most important principles in protection engineering. A protection scheme that detects a fault perfectly but fails to trip has protected nothing. The sequence begins with the relay issuing a trip command. That command may operate an 86 lockout relay. The lockout relay provides an important layer of security and control. It can require a manual reset, ensuring that the transformer cannot simply be re-energized into the fault. The next step is energizing the mechanical trip actuators. Finally, the high voltage or medium voltage breakers must physically open and isolate the transformer. Every link in this chain matters. A relay can make the correct decision, but if the trip circuit is open, a control fuse has failed, a lockout relay is malfunctioning, or a breaker mechanism does not operate, the electrical fault remains connected. That is why protection engineering must extend beyond relay settings. The complete protection system includes sensing, logic, control, mechanical operation, and physical isolation. Protection systems must be designed to perform flawlessly on the worst day, not only under normal operating conditions and fault duties. The engineering process begins with system studies and modeling. Short circuit studies, load flow studies, and protection coordination studies establish the expected operating conditions and fault duties. Tools such as ETAP, SKM, and PSCAD can be used as part of this engineering process. The second stage is scheme and hardware design. This includes specifying CT classes, defining overlapping protection zones, and developing the AC and DC control schematics. The third stage is settings and NERC compliance. Study results must be translated into actual relay settings and configuration files. Engineers then verify selectivity and document the technical basis for the protection settings. And finally comes testing and commissioning. The objective is to inject real electrical conditions into the protection system and prove that the design behaves as intended before energization. This creates a closed engineering loop. Study the system, design the protection, configure the settings, test the actual hardware, then verify that reality matches the engineering model.
Commissioning is where engineering assumptions meet physical reality. The first major activity is secondary injection testing. This allows engineers to verify relay settings and confirm that the protection functions operate as expected. Primary injection testing takes the verification one step further by proving CT polarity and differential stability under realistic conditions. Trip path verification is also essential. The test must follow the actual path from the relay through the lockout relay and ultimately to the breaker. The mechanical protection functions must also be tested. This can include Buchholz protection, temperature protection, and oil-related protective functions. The purpose of commissioning is not simply to prove that the relay works. It is to prove that the complete protection chain works. The prevention objectives are equally important. Proper commissioning helps prevent false trips during energization, avoids stranded generating assets, reduces the risk of severe physical equipment damage, and helps prevent compliance violations. In other words, commissioning is the final opportunity to identify problems before the transformer becomes operational. Protection engineering becomes especially valuable when applied to real-world operating challenges. The first scenario is utility-scale solar PV. The challenge was nuisance tripping that was reducing plant availability. The intervention involved retuning the 87T differential protection, including harmonic blocking and percentage restraint slope. The result was elimination of false trips during energization, allowing the plant to return to its contractual operating targets. The second scenario involves an aging 138 kilovolt substation. Here, drifting electromechanical relays were creating concerns about selectivity and NERC compliance. The intervention included an SKM coordination study and numerical relay retrofit involving functions such as 87T, REF, and 5051. Importantly, the retrofit was performed without dropping the load. The outcome was restored selectivity and an audit-ready compliance package. The third scenario involves a new BESS interconnection. The challenge was a tight energization deadline combined with strict utility requirements. The response was a ground-up protection scheme design, settings modeling, and injection commissioning. The result was successful utility testing on the first attempt and energization on schedule. These examples demonstrate that protection engineering is not simply about calculations. It is about converting engineering analysis into reliable field performance.
Expertise matters, but execution is what ultimately protects the asset. This slide introduces the engineering leadership behind the protection practice. The profile identifies Sunny Patel, PE, EC, IEEE senior member, and founder and CEO of Keentel Engineering. The profile highlights professional engineering licenses in Florida, California, New York, West Virginia, and Minnesota, along with an unlimited electrical contractor license in Florida. It also highlights 3 decades of experience shaping power systems. The broader concept is the owner's engineer advantage. Specialist protection expertise and independent technical oversight can be brought into complex projects without displacing the personnel who know the asset best. That model provides an additional layer of technical assurance. The goal is not to replace the owner's existing team. It is to strengthen the project with specialist protection engineering, independent review, system studies, settings verification, testing, and commissioning expertise. Ultimately, expertise becomes valuable when it can be translated into reliable execution in the field. Transformer protection is ultimately about resilience. A resilient power system does not depend on a single relay, a single calculation, or a single protection function. It depends on an engineered system where measurements are accurate, protection logic is correctly designed, protection zones are properly coordinated, trip circuits are reliable, and commissioning proves that the complete system works as intended. From utility-scale generation to substations and battery energy storage systems, the same principle applies. Engineer the protection before the fault occurs. Validate the models. Coordinate the protection. Test the hardware. Verify the trip path. And build a system that is prepared for its worst operating condition. Because when a critical transformer is under fault, there is no opportunity to redesign the protection system. It has to work the first time. Engineer your resilience.